Have you always wanted to visit Unity Village? Or maybe you long to return? Join the Come Home to Unity Retreat, October 14th to 17th. Meet other Unity people from all over the country. Explore the 100-year-old village and learn more about its founders. Deepen your prayer practice and find a space for solitude on these prayer-saturated grounds. Now's the time for travel and togetherness. Learn more at unityvillage.org/come home.
Thanks for joining us. This is Unity Online Radio, the voice of an awakening world.
You're listening to Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed, the best-looking guys on the radio. If you have a question or comment about today's show, or if you'd like to join in the discussion, friend us on Facebook at Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed, or email us at funniestthing@unityonlineradio.org. Now, back to Funniest Thing.
You stuck around for the second segment of Free to Be Me.
Right.
With Daryl on this episode of Funniest Thing. So Ed has a reading for us from Alan Cohen.
From A Deep Breath of Life. If we didn't mention it already, go to DarylNed.com. There's a reading list. You can order any of these books for your morning routine or your daily dose of inspiration. We don't make money off that, but we do put them out there so you can benefit like we do. He says, it was from yesterday, at the time of this recording, August 18th, because I say so. And he says, I'll just read this for a few lines. If others want to be miserable, that's up to them. I do not have to justify, explain, rationalize, apologize, or compromise my choice for joy. I create my own reality just as you do. And he says, what world or what reality would you like to live in? Do you choose a world of love, abundance, and celebration, or one of fear, lack, and doom? The choice is yours because you say so. That is so hard to believe sometimes when I'm in the habit of thinking negatively, but it is always true. It is the choice really is, once we switch stations, and only one of them is really in alignment with who we really are, and that's the joyous, loving, abundant reality.
That's the good news. That's the truth that sets you free. That it's the good feeling and the good life that is the real you that you're a part of.
Yeah, we can have like real experiences of the negative, but it will never truly reflect who we are. All right, what do you got?
Go ahead. We're going to thank our listeners.
Yes.
We get great mail. You could send us email via our contact page at DarylNed.com, or some people like to mail us real mail to Funniest Thing, P.O. Box 1312, Culver City, California, 90232.
Oh, yeah, can I say, too, we have a Facebook fan page there. You can see, like, Facebook Live stuff we do, including the first segment of every show we recorded on Facebook Live. You can check it out on Thursdays. So,
also,
yes,
we have someone who has listened to every single episode of our podcast, whether he wanted to or not, and that's our chief engineer, Jeff Comfort.
That's right.
And we like to thank him because each week he takes us right into the comfort zone. A shout out to the prayer line, 800-NOW-PRAY or 800-669-7729. Now, this has been around for nearly 130 years.
Yeah, Silent Unity.
It was originally the
Society for Secret Help or something.
Yes, it was. That's it. You got it right.
Yeah.
And they were the first phone line in Missouri, believe it or not.
Yes.
And there's no strings attached. It's non-denominational. It's free. They're not going to solicit you or call you at all.
Right.
And man, do we benefit from that.
And they have an app, the letter U,
Yes.
the word pray. It's a You Pray app. You can type in your prayers. They'll pray with you. The other thing is if you call the number 800-669-7729 and you either don't have time or you don't really fully feel like you could talk to a real human being, you press 2. They have a pre-recorded prayer. I've been using that a lot lately. And I got to say, we learned that originally Silent Unity was Charles and Myrtle Fillmore would gather in their living room or at their house at 9 p.m. every night. Originally it was 10 p.m. and then people said it was too late. And they would pray at 9 p.m. and they would encourage everyone around the planet to whoever wanted to be a part, to pray with them at that time. And the way that came around to bless me last night, yesterday my wife and I dropped my son off at Cal Berkeley to start his freshman year, and it hit me. Daryl was like, he's still alive, right? But in the moment, it rocked me in a way that I never thought it would. I just was always thinking about him going and having fun and getting him there, but I didn't realize, oh yeah, he's not coming back with us, and it was, so my wife and I were crying and such on the way home, and then I had this inspired thought that night when I got home last night, because I was doing my evening readings, and I realized, let's do our own version of Silent Unity. So my wife and I, the original Silent Unity, my wife and I gathered together, and we just sent love to our son, and trusting that he will feel it and receive that good. And we're planning on doing that regularly to remind our own minds that we really are still connected. And so that was really helpful. All right, so next we have the Daily Word segment. And we read the Daily Word every morning. You can go to dailyword.com to subscribe. It's the price, the value. I mean, it really is like a crazy, still to this day, it's a crazy value for what you get. Every 2 months you receive one. And we use it as part of our morning routine.
It's a daily inspirational reading.
It's a daily inspirational reading. And someone who inspires us daily also, a friend of the show. We like to, get inspired by the things she posts on Instagram. I know she's doing a lot of inspiring a lot of other people off of Instagram as well. Daryl was actually the minister, right, at her wedding.
Yeah, believe it or not.
Yeah, her name is Kia Myers Dugan, and we are so happy that you are here with us today.
I'm so excited and glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Wow, she's really with us.
I know. Is this your first time being on the show with us?
It is. It is.
That's remarkable, because we've known you, and I don't know, for some reason I always just assumed you had been on the show before.
Nope, I've listened, but I haven't been on.
Well, you can't say that anymore.
That's right. There's a first for everything.
That's right. So, one of the things we always like to ask our guests, since you've been listening to the show, are there any things that have been bubbling up for you that you'd like to share right now? With our listeners and with Daryl and Ed to get this conversation rolling.
Well, I will say that everything that you were talking about in the first segment, I was nodding my head furiously because it is so aligned with what my day has been like. I had the grumblies a little bit, and then at one point I had to decide, I'm free to make a different decision, which, as it so happens, we're talking about that today. But yeah, I mean, just everything, anytime I listen to your show, it is always on time. The message that I get is always the message that I need. So I'm just really here in gratitude and just in receiving mode, because this is just you guys both, and this show is just such a blessing in ways that I'm sure you don't even know.
Wow, thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, I think Daryl told me that you, even when you communicated about what the show is going to be about, that Daryl was saying that this whole idea of being free to be yourself and was really resonating with you.
Very much so. Very much so.
Yeah, is that something that I know you work with people to help them, I guess, access the truth? You can maybe say it better, to access the truth of who they are, feel free to be themselves. And I was wondering, maybe you have some, I don't know, advice isn't my favorite way of saying it, but suggestions for people like our listeners for like what you recommend or what you experienced related to this?
Yeah, so and there was a line in the Daily Word about thinking small and how it limits our lives and locks you into a prison of your own thinking. And that line really stood out to me because a lot of the things that I hear from clients, or if I'm doing a speaking engagement, I will hear, that the small thinking of what people think they should be doing or what they think other people think they should be doing. And then the fears, or like you guys were talking about earlier, the attack thoughts of I'm not good enough, I don't know enough, I'm not ready, people are going to talk about me. Like all of those things, like all those little gremlins really truly are things that keep people in the prison of their own making. I mean, it can't be said any better than that. And it's, and so a question that I will ask people is, okay, well, what else could be true, right? Like what other story could you tell yourself? Because that's a lot of what all those things are stories or narratives that people have chosen to believe. They choose to keep repeating. They choose to, state as gospel when really there are other decisions that one can make. And so, a lot of time, and some of the things that you all were saying today is really perfect in that, things may not happen on your time, but they happen when they're supposed to happen, right? So if you feel like you're not ready, or if you feel like you don't know enough, just stay on the path, because what's meant for you is not going to pass you. So that's one of many, many things that I will communicate to people that are way down.
Right. This is awesome, because you said it. One thing I think we left out in the beginning of the show that is very important, and that is what are that crazy idea that what will people think? What will people think if I really decide to do what's calling to my heart? Are they going to think I'm crazy? And then once we have that thought of what other people will think, then we start talking. This is the problem. We start then thinking and contemplating about what we think they think.
Right.
And then we start talking ourselves out of moving forward.
Right.
I realized a long time ago, it's not what you think that makes me upset. It's what I think you think about me that makes me upset.
So true.
It's crazy. And you know what? I can't believe you're reading that. I mean, you're reading this, that you shared this, because I want to read this. I brought this book. I have no idea why. Not bought to today's podcast.
Right.
And it's exactly what you kind of summed up. And it goes along with what we're talking about. It's from Catherine Ponder's Open Your Mind to Receive. And it's talking about the power of agreement. And she says, when you agree with a situation by pronouncing it good, whether it seems to be good or not, you are agreeing with the unseen good in the situation. You are opening the way for it to appear.
Wow.
Yeah, that reminds me of something that and it's very closely related of, I can't remember where I heard, it was on a podcast, and the person said, accept it to change it.
Yes.
Right? Like you can have an attitude about it, but if you accept and say, okay, you know what? This is happening for a reason, and I'm just going to believe that this is moving me closer to my highest and best good. Instead of saying, this really stinks, it's completely derailed my day, all those things. And it's like, and that goes so perfectly with today's word. It's like, you are completely free to make a different decision.
Yes.
You are completely free to choose a different thought. And I had to do that today, because there was something that happened today that unfortunately I let, kind of make me grumble a little bit. And I grumbled about it, I think, a little too long. And then finally I said to myself, okay, this doesn't feel good. This is the worst I have felt all week. What can I do in this moment that is going to make me feel good? What can I do in the next few minutes that will help me to change my attitude?
Right.
And that was a conscious choice that I had to make.
Yes.
It wasn't that I could have easily been like, I'm going to stay in this bad mood.
Right.
But I was like, I don't want to feel this way anymore. So what little simple thing can I do that will point me in a different direction?
Yes. That's huge, because what we're really doing when we do that is changing the frequency of our thinking, because that's all we really need to do is, collaborate with the positive flow of life, collaborate with because the truth is the reason why all that grumbling on my part I can speak to this morning felt so bad is because it's like there's a raging river of good, even though I don't quite recognize where I'm going. It's pulling me there. It's taking me there. And all that squawking that I was doing was just trying to fight something there's no way I could possibly fight. I always say, even when we're looking backwards on the stream, trying to pedal against it, it's still pulling us in the direction of our good. So how soon can I, like you did in your case, and I have to coax myself, all right, let's just try turning around and affirming that actually this is a good situation. Let's try on affirming that I'm actually great at my job and that everyone here supports me. Just feel those thoughts for a minute, see what happens. And it's remarkable how like Daryl was talking about earlier, there's a lot we actually have. It's a lot less work than I think it's going to be to shift gears and get back into the flow of life.
Yeah, the worst part is not agreeing with it or not accepting it. That's where all my pain is. And then complaining about it is me just crossing my arms like a little kid, putting my head up in the air, turning away from my life and going, no. Yeah, no.
And the thing to remember is that's why Emmett Fox calls it the devil's last ditch. It's like that old pattern inside us. It's like it's not working anymore, but it's the tendency is to try harder, to try to, it gets louder, the voice gets louder. What you're not listening to me, louder. But if we just in those moments, like you said, can make a new conscious choice, even though that voice, because that voice was so used to us listening to us, so it didn't have to get loud. But once we stop listening, it starts to go, oh, yeah, I'll show you, and it's like that groove has been woven into our brain and into our thinking, so it's time to start a new groove. It's time to start a new way.
It really is saying, okay, this is what's going on. What can I do next to cooperate with this, to go in the direction that I really would like to go? Meaning, what can I do next to help resolve this if it's like a repair that needs to be made? And you know what? As soon as I do, like you mentioned, and this is why we like having people like you on, because you share that how you apply this to you. Like you're not like a superhuman being who doesn't have these thoughts and ideas. And that's what makes, people like you so effective, because you're living it. You're applying it and experimenting with these truths in your own experience and then getting the results. So you're qualified and can speak with authority based on you applying it in your everyday life. And it's once my mind agrees with, okay, now what can I do? Like, what's the next right act? Once I decide to go, like you said, like once I make that cut to stop complaining and grumbling, even if it's just in my own head, and most of the time it is, thank goodness, like at least I've gotten much healthier in that respect. Like I know better than to try to get more people to agree on how bad life is. But did you notice, like once we just even are willing to go in the direction of with the positive stream of life, or how can I cooperate with this to move toward where I would like to really go instead of fighting it? Didn't you like feel your mood start to already start to bubble up?
Absolutely I did. I mean, I felt that immediate release of tension. And it wasn't like a light switch, but it was just like this gradual lessening of tension. Like, oh, okay.
Yes.
I'm fine.
Yes, it really is. This stuff really works, folks.
Yeah, all we're really doing is undamming that stream so that the stream can flow.
We're cutting off those attack thoughts I was saying on the break are like, when you go up in one of those balloons, but I never have, but I see them on TV enough, those balloons with the basket, the big giant hot air balloon. And these attack thoughts to me are really like the sandbags. And we could just once we clip them off and say, I'm not going to beat myself with this clip, we rise a little higher in consciousness.
Yes, absolutely. Abraham Hicks, one of the references that they use is a cork. And when you're trying to hold the cork underwater, but the cork's natural state is to float and to be buoyant. And in, the human case, to be joyful and light and, in a receiving mode. But when you try so hard to keep it down, there's this resistance, right? But if you can just let go, and it's easier said than done. Like we were saying, it is a conscious decision that you have to make. But if you can just let yourself have a little bit of a relief, that's when the ideas or the different, and I think, Ed, you said it earlier, that when you calm your mind, the solutions come, the ideas come, the inspiration comes, and I say, it's like you just have to do that, and it's not just because it's easier said than done, but it's, that's just one of the many muscles that you have to work, because we are so used to going immediately to the negative, the grumbles, because that's easy, but you can let that go.
Yeah. I had one guy who saved my life early on, and I wish he was still alive just for this reason, but I still hear him in my head, and his last name's Dugan, Mike Dugan. And anytime, even no matter how serious the emergency or how minor the problem, whenever I went to him with it, he'd go, "That's great." And I couldn't argue. He goes, "I wonder what wonderful thing's going to come of this." And I'd go, "You're right." And it helped me just become more and more willing to go with it. Speaking about going with it, can you read the Daily Word now? The time is moving so fast. We're having so much fun. Do you have the Daily Word there to read for our listeners?
Am I supposed to read it?
If you have it, but otherwise,
I have it.
we would love to hear you read it. We're like, that's just kind of like,
that's like bedtime story for Daryl and Ed.
Yes, absolutely. It would be my pleasure. And before I say that, Daryl, I think I told you, I have been reading or familiar with or a subscriber to Daily Word for more than half my life, because my grandmother used to subscribe to it. So I learned about Daily Word for early on. So this is truly an honor. And I feel like, she's smiling down on me and is present with me right now.
It's so amazing.
What's her name?
Her name is Bonita Khalil.
Oh,
Khalil. Beautiful.
Yes. Okay. So here is today's daily word. The word is free. I am free to be the best me I can be. If I long for the feeling of freedom, I look first to myself. It does me no good to wish something outside of myself could make me feel free. It truly is an inside job. Through the Spirit of God within me, I free myself from doubt, insecurity, hesitation, and anything else I may have let me hold me back. Thinking small limits my life and locks me in a prison of my own making. Today, my world expands as I leave thoughts of inadequacy and doubt behind. I choose instead to believe the best about myself. I am confident, courageous, and strong. I am free to take steps to create the life of my dreams. An exciting future awaits me, and I boldly take my place in it. I am ready to live my life to the fullest. And the scripture is, you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. John chapter 8, verse 32.
Wow. That's beautiful. That's a great way to wrap this up. Kia, thank you so much for joining us. Could you let the people know where they can reach out to you if they want to work with you or follow you, stay in touch with you?
Yes, absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram at Kia Myers Dugan, and you can also find me on the internet, KiaMyersDugan.com, and also on YouTube, where I post videos weekly.
Wow.
Just search Kia Myers Dugan.
Well, don't hang up, because we have a little story we found.
Yes.
About you. We can't confirm whether it's true or not, but it is pretty funny.
We often have these with our guests. It's amazing how we find these little stories, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Anyway, Kia Myers Dugan was working with a couple, focusing on bringing the fire back to their marriage. During one session, the woman admitted that she was disappointed because her husband never buys her flowers. Kia turned to the husband and asked, "Is it true that you don't buy her flowers?" The man was surprised.
To be completely honest, I didn't even know she sold flowers.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, Enzo, the FedEx feline, dragged in some mail.
Yeah, Vonnie Wayne from British Columbia said the Sunday service, meaning at Unity of the West Side. We're every third Sunday we speak at Unity of the West Side, 10 a.m. service. The last one, she said, the Sunday service was a yes walk, Daryl. I could see every detail of the zinc oxide story, Ed. Cracked me up. Happy Sunday, guys. Barbara Gallagher Weatherman from Florida said, love to you, Daryl, your families. Much love, light, and success to Elliot as he begins his journey in college. Thank you for these truth talks and meditations. You are appreciated. And then she said, enjoy your new classroom, Ed. Well, thank you. Ooh.
It's the Brothers Gibb.
Ooh, that's a nice big butterfly collar you got there. Should we sing it along? Sing it out? So are you going to sing it out with us?
Yes, you ready?
Yeah.
Whether you're a brother or whether you're a mother, you're staying alive, staying alive. Feel the city breaking and everybody shaking. We're staying alive, staying alive. Ah, 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 ah. Staying alive, staying alive. Ah, 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 ah. Staying alive.
Why don't you read it?
Okay. Visit DarylNed.com to find easy links to everything we do. And thanks again.
Kia Myers-Dugan, we love you.
For being a part of Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed on Unity Online Radio. Whether you're a mother, you're staying alive, staying alive. Ah, 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 staying alive, staying alive. Ah, 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 staying alive.
Thank you for listening to The Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed. Listen in as these unlikely saints share more real-life stories of how surrendering to divine order always leads to better-than-expected outcomes. This program has been made possible by God through automated monthly transfers from Daryl and Ed's credit cards.
This one is called The Pants. Take 8.
Welcome to Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed, the best-looking guys on the radio. We all know the funniest things happen when we stop taking ourselves too seriously and step out boldly, like Mr. Magoo blindly stepping onto the next swinging girder and falling into an outrageous jackpot. Your hosts, Daryl and Ed, are about to administer a refreshing dose of laughter and love that will inspire you to step out boldly and experience the funniest things. Now, here are your hosts, Daryl and Ed.
Welcome to The Funniest Thing.
Yes.
Where each week we share stories about how stepping out boldly always leads to better than expected outcomes.
Yes, it does.
My name's Daryl.
And I'm Ed.
And we're broadcasting live from Middle School Studios in Culver City, the heart of Screenland.
Yes.
You know what, Ed?
What?
I just want to be free to be me.
Oh, my gosh, me too. And that happens to be the title of today's show, Free to Be Me with Kia Myers-Dugan. It doesn't matter what other people think. It only matters what we believe. We are heirs to an exciting and prosperous future. However, the temptation to join the small thinking status quo is always present. On this episode, Daryl and Ed encourage listeners to put faith to the test by believing in the best. And during the second segment, liberating life coach Kia Myers-Dugan releases us from doubt, insecurity, and hesitation with today's daily word, which is free.
Can we jump into these 3 breaths? Because I need them.
Okay, let's just take a deep breath, because hopefully all of us will be singing along by the end of this show. Hopefully we will. Daryl's been doing all kinds of stuff. He got shot out of a cannon.
I did get shot out of a cannon.
All right, here we go. Take a deep breath. I'm free to really be me all of the time.
I'm free to really be me all of the time.
I'm free to really be me all of the
All the time. Thank goodness for those
I forgot
angels.
what we were doing. I forgot there was our breaths. We're in the studio. I just got so caught up in singing the song.
I know, me too.
Yeah. Dude, I think you're going to like this. Let me read
Are
this.
we going to explain people what we mean by attack thoughts?
You are. You're going to do that right after this.
Okay.
Perhaps you faced. Oh, by the way, this is from God Will See You Through by Mary L. Kupferle, and this chapter is called "Open Up to God." Attack thoughts don't really allow us to do that, do we?
No, they don't.
All right. Perhaps you face some challenge in your life and you're thinking, I can't make it through on my own power. I don't have the courage and the faith to keep on. I can tell you I was thinking that this morning as I started the first official day of school at my new school that I'm working at. It's been a miracle, though, how practicing this stuff has got me to this show right now. So she says, if so, take heart and remember that you are far more than you seem to be. You have spiritual powers at your command that rush to your aid when you open up to God, your help, your supply, and your support. Daryl loves this part. God's power within you supports your highest desires, undergirds your being, sustains your life, opens doors, lifts all burdens, dissolves all blocks, clears every path, bursts all bonds as you open up to it. Are you going to tell people what attack thoughts are, for crying out loud? You've been saying it all day.
Well,
it actually helped me when you mentioned it earlier.
It helped me too, but now I can't remember exactly where I got the clear what inspired this whole thing. But I do know it came from A Course in Miracles.
I can tell you right now why it helped me. It was because I started this job that they switched me in the district to just last week. And then I had the opportunity to take my son to Cal Berkeley to start his freshman year yesterday. And so I wasn't there for a couple of days. And so today when I got there, and in my mind, this is what attack thoughts are to me. My mind started telling me I should already have organized everything. There's people out there who are like, where is that guy? There's kids hanging from the lights, and I'm the one who's supposed to be helping them. My mind is like, and it just telling me I'm not professional, I can't do this job, and then wanting to attack me and others. And I was in hell. Thank God I called my wife, and she helped me move through it, and I called you. And when you mentioned the attack thoughts from Course in Miracles, that really rang a bell with me.
Yeah, it kind of goes all the way back to, was it Plato? Plato, who taught the slave boy to prove that in each and every one of us is the ability to do things that are beyond what seems reasonable for us to do. And that doesn't mean like jumping off a building and flying necessarily. What it means is beyond what the world may think we're capable of, including ourselves.
Right.
And his whole philosophy and experiment in that case was he told his colleagues who were bragging about the educational system,
right,
that he could draw this out of a supposedly ignorant slave boy,
right,
by simply removing all the negative ideas,
right,
and merely praising the slave boy,
right,
to the point that this hidden splendor, like the Bible said, will be, or not the Bible, that poem will be released from within.
Right.
That the ability beyond a conceived ability will be able to now come out.
That's right.
Knowledge that you couldn't believe you had.
Right.
Talents you thought you never possessed.
Right.
And this is true, man, because the only thing that really holds us back from doing anything,
right,
and from being the real me that God intended me to be,
right,
is these attack thoughts. And here it says here in Course in Miracles that our attack thoughts, it says here, because your attack thoughts will be projected, you will fear attack. And if you fear attack, you must believe that you are not invulnerable. Attack thoughts, therefore, make you vulnerable in your own mind, which is where the attack thoughts are. And it goes on to say the same thing, that the key to life isn't about trying to make ourselves into something,
Right.
but rather to eliminate. It's a process of subtraction, not addition, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
And that helped me today because because once you're aware that these thoughts of, I'll never get this done today, or I got this, that, and the other thing, or even how are we ever going to do this show because our schedules both got rearranged and seemingly impossible. It seemed to be impossible that we would get to do the show today between the two of us having unexpected things pop up.
Well, let's be fair. Mine was completely, because this is the thing. You got caught up in that tornado. Mine was completely expected. We knew we were going to do the show at this time, but all the stuff that landed on your lap that added to an already expected change and then an unexpected change on top of the expected change. So it all started to gas.
Well, yeah, because everything was planned to go smoothly until yesterday. But here's the good news.
Right.
I got this from Catherine Ponder today, and it's The Secret of Enduring Achievements of Mankind. It actually came in a letter from her.
Right.
And she writes, I recall a favorite phrase used by one of my high school teachers. She often talked to us about the power of going the second mile in life.
Right.
At times, those words have floated up in my memory when I was tempted to stop at the end of the first mile, to sit down and quit. Now, going the extra mile, that phrase almost killed me before I understood what I'm going to read next.
Nice.
Because I thought it meant pushing and shoving and making it happen.
Right.
Which was really me having attack thoughts and trying to overcome the negative things I'm telling myself by pushing through instead of just releasing the attack thoughts and allowing inspiration and divine order to start arranging my affairs.
Right.
And so here she says, in regarding to going the extra mile, when inner methods of persistence are used, external persistence is not often needed. When you learn the power of thought, you learn how to work things out in your mental attitudes first, rather than expend effort in running hither and yon, attempting to manipulate an outer desired result. The inner will produce the outer, but you must persistently produce the inner first.
Right.
So I had to keep reassuring myself that everything was going to come together in divine order.
Right.
Not necessarily my order, but I was going to see.
Right.
I knew I was going to see later on how everything was going to turn out better than expected.
Yes.
Because the temptation to whine and complain and commiserate in my own head with myself kept coming up.
Right.
And I had to but because I do, because we do these readings, Ed, and we're always talking about this stuff, it's easier to spot it, and let go of it.
Yes. There's a reason we call these books being filled with the medicine, because when we read them, it helps, like the feeling we feel inside is so real, and it helps us to treat the relief and the satisfaction and the reminders that all is well. Because I was just wanted to say that about the subtraction. It's like it's more about subtraction. When we're in these moments where we think that there's something big that we have to fight and overcome, like it's subtracting. It's because we're letting go of these urges, which end up like just. Who is it? Will Rogers, that quote you used to say, if you find yourself in a hole, stop digging.
Yeah.
Like, it's finding ways to stop digging.
Oh, my God.
And, reconnect with the realization we're not in a hole, that we're actually divinely supported at every moment.
I started grumbling about it, and I immediately, because now it's become how to go, stop it. Like, I'll just say that to my own mind.
Right.
And I went, wow, I can't believe I do this now automatically, right after I did that.
Right.
And then it means stop it, and now let's move into trust.
Yes.
Trust that nothing happens by mistake.
Right.
Because all these ideas, even if you're thinking, well, what if it's an emergency, or what if this or that? Yeah, I could think whatever I want, but here's the great reality. Telling myself it's all in divine order calms my mind.
That's right.
And when my mind is calm, it opens up and becomes a receptive, or like a receiving set,
right,
to inspired ideas that show me an easier, more efficient way to go.
That's right.
Or, wait, maybe I don't need to do anything.
Right.
But it opens me up and calms me down. And that is when, like Catherine Ponder mentioned, then the outer corresponds.
Oh, my God, yes. And if you're going to bring up emergencies, that's the time, like you just said, that it's most vital to calm our minds so that we're actually open to solutions. Today, when my mind was freaking out and ready to run out of the school and was, thankfully I was talking to my wife, and she was able to listen while I let out that I was feeling like I'm not professional. I don't know why, I hate this job. You're like,
oh, you weren't saying stop it.
I was trying to, but I just had to let it bubble over, right? But what happened was I had also been doing some writing, just letting that out, because I was going to try to rush and connect with these teachers and make it look like I was working. And I just felt like it's better not to take action when one part of me is doubtful. Like, I had a great idea. I wanted to go into these rooms and connect with these teachers, but there's another part of me that didn't feel right about it. So I took the time to treat the concern in my mind first. I did some writing. I talked to my wife. That ended up...
Enjoyed your air-conditioned classroom.
I enjoyed my air-conditioned classroom. We came up with some simple things that I could do to reach out to the teachers, to introduce myself. I penned an email. I read it to my wife. I sent that out. I ended up getting some things together to send to parents to introduce myself. All of these things which, if I had given into those attack thoughts, I wouldn't have gotten anything constructive done. I would have thought, I should have already done this stuff. What's the use, And that led to me talking to the attendance clerks about all the stuff that was going on in my mind. And then the attendance clerk, Rosie, said, I woke up at 4 a.m. too, and I don't even usually meditate. I listened to a recording of a meditation. It helped me so much. I had an instant bond with the two attendance clerks because I admitted what was going on in my mind. It let them admit what was going on in their mind. The day rolled along. Later in the day, it ended on a real high note, too. I just want to share this one, which was I talked to Daryl, and we agreed. Actually, our friend Marion Spinelli gave us a good tool, which is if you're going through something challenging, or if you're in a situation
like a restaurant
where all the tables are full, or there's just not good energy around you. Imagine angels hovering around. You can imagine them hovering over the person that you might feel troublesome
with lots of love
joy,
and bright light. Yes,
and she said either that person will leave, the people that can't handle that light and don't want to be around it will leave. Or they'll stay, and the whole atmosphere will get better.
Yes.
We used it that day. It happened. Daryl was in the drive-thru today at El Pollo Loco.
Oh my God!
I was talking to you. Remember that?
Yeah, and there are cars coming in all different directions.
Right.
And they were coming from a direction which is not like the legal line.
Right. And you were coming in like the correct way, so to speak. Yeah.
So it could have been easy for me to go. And
you were hungry on top of that.
And allow my attack thoughts to start because that's when it starts off with. The attack thoughts start from fear, which is, oh no, now I'm not going to be able to get in there.
Right.
And then that comes out as, well, these guys figures, and the whole thing turns into a real, then it starts slowing down the line because, like we said, our circumstances correspond. Then Ed goes, remember marrying with the angels? I go, great idea. So there was one guy who was in the wrong spot.
Going in the wrong way.
And he had like one of those mean mugs, I guess, because when you're doing something like that, even I would put the mean mug on.
Yeah, when you're feeling even more insecure, so you get even more instead of more kind.
So the healthy part of me felt like I'm not going to boldly push in front of this guy.
Right,
I'm not looking for a fight. I'm just going to bless it and retreat into peace. And then Ed said about the angel, so I said, yes. So I imagined this white, beautiful angel with the feathers like our friend Marion.
Yeah, this is what Marion suggested, yes.
Just bright with white light and joy. And I could not believe it, folks. This is God's honest truth. All of a sudden I'm going, Ed, that guy just left the line.
Yes.
He was in that spot for a long time waiting to go in from that opposite. And then he left, and then someone from the wrong way that was right behind him just pulled right in, and I was right behind her. I go, this is unbelievable.
You know what's amazing, too? At that moment, I'm glad this is coming up, I reached over into a box.
Yes, this is how we have the readings.
I reached over into a box that had traveled with me for a couple different schools that I've had, and I didn't even know it was in the box, but I saw this word, Rich Ideas, popping out, and it comes from a free resource at Unity. Actually, we have a tab at darylned.com for free resources. You could probably find it. It's called Courage to Imagine.
Yeah, it's like a little pamphlet magazine that you can get sent to you for free.
So remember, I'm talking to Daryl. He's blessing the drive-through. I reach up.
Well, and we were saying, holy cow, it's really, like, he couldn't believe
yes.
that. Like,
no, it was the whole thing, my mood. So that's feeding back into my mood elevating.
Yes.
And I start imagining and feeling angels walking around my school and transforming the situation. Because part of it is, I just don't know anyone like I knew at the other schools, or I didn't think I did, and I was feeling, like, how do I make that connection? But I realized only God can do that. I can't force that. So I read this, Rich Ideas. It's from a Daily Word from Saturday. Go ahead.
Didn't you say something like, let something wonderful...
Let something good be said, or no. Oh, something... What was that saying?
Something good's going to happen?
Yeah.
And
only good can come from this or something.
And then that book popped in your vision.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was something good's going to...
something good's going to... I could feel something good's about to happen.
That's what it was. Something good's about to happen. Something good's about to happen. That's what I kept saying. And then I reached up, and this is from Saturday, February 4th, 1939 was the original printing of this reading from Daily Word. And it is called Rich Ideas. And it goes right along with being free to be me. Because when we're thinking rich ideas, this is the whole thing. We're actually in alignment with who we truly are.
Yes.
Like we said, the temptation can be to go along with the small thinking status quo. But the trick of that is it's all in our own head. When we disconnect from that small thinking, and it's literally too small for the truth of who we are to fit through those thoughts.
Yes.
So we think we're cut off, and we think we need to do more instead of relax and let God take care of it. So this says, identifying myself with God, I receive rich ideas which bring abundant good to me. It says, your blessings do not come from any force outside yourself, just like Ponder said, but from divine mind, which inspires you with creative ideas to use and put into operation. You are endowed with the power to bring every spiritual blessing into manifestation. Assert your power by claiming your good, and abundant blessings will come to you from every direction. Have you ever thought others were more favored than you? This is a limiting thought of the personal consciousness. In truth, God is no respecter of persons, but blesses all alike. God himself is the fulfillment of every need and desire. If you need if you feel a sense of emptiness or lack in your life, realize that you're constantly immersed in God's omnipresent rich substance, that all is yours now. Not for one moment can you be separated from God and his blessings. Wherever you are, whatever you have to do, his blessing is upon you. Consecrate yourself today to Jehovah, that he may bestow upon you a blessing this day. And all that really means is align yourself with the awareness that life is good, and the blessings will come. That was from Exodus 32:29. So I read that. I realized I had been pushing too hard on the inside. Thankfully, I was not really taking action out of it, but I took my shoes off. I relaxed. I watched some video of a plane flying over Dubai to relax or whatever, and then I watched some real estate videos in Santa Monica, like really nice houses, just to get myself in a better state. This is crazy, too. Then I walked to my car and took a 9-minute nap because I was like, nothing good. I don't have to force myself to do anything right now if it's not inspired. So then I came back, and I found this old journal in the same box where I found this Daily Word that I just read. And it was empty, so I just wrote everything that went well today. And I realized I had done and accomplished a lot. And then I said, what do I want to do tomorrow? I'd like to get in the classrooms and interact with some of the students, which I love doing. And I realized I felt like I'm not at home here. And I realized that's the concern, is that no one here knows me. So I turned that over to God. And this is where it really got amazing. And I didn't even think about it till right now. I just affirmed, God is taking care of that. There's nothing I can do about that. And that is important enough that I'm turning it over to God and turning it over to life. I took a walk outside. I look up on the balcony. Two of the teachers, I have 6 teachers I work with. 2 of them were looking over the balcony. We checked in immediately. I asked them if it would be okay if I stopped by. They told me one student wasn't there. Turns out one of those teachers is the aunt of a student that I had last year. So we already have this amazing relationship because she knows I did a great job with the lad, and we both love the kid. So that then another teacher that walked out, and I knew her from several years ago. We used to just cross paths and we would talk, and we had such a good relationship. And now she's subbing for one of the teachers that I need to work with. So I'm going to go to see her tomorrow. And then she said, have you gotten to meet everyone you need to meet? She's like, what about her? A woman named Daisy. And I said, oh, my gosh, that's another one of the teachers. So she walked me into Daisy's room, introduced me to her. Daisy was so collaborative and joyful, and she told me something that we were on the same page, that this school a few years ago used to have like a really – she told me when she first started working there, she felt like she was on another planet, which is what I used to say. So we bonded over that, but we both agreed that things are getting better and that we're going to be a part of things getting better. So with no effort on my part, just like Ponder said.
Well, because the attack thoughts were gone.
That's right. And I connected with 4 out of 6 of the teachers that I wanted to connect with, and it put me in motion to do what I said I wanted to do, which is get in the classroom and see some kids tomorrow. Amazing.
But that's the key. That's the magic. Like when we choose to do like you did, turn the concern over to God. It even gives us energy to do things that you might think you don't want to do but have to get done.
Right.
Because I had an article to complete. I had to prepare, the bathroom and the kitchen and the tenant's house for the plumber. And it just seemed like a lot of physicality plus a lot of thinking to write this article, which I enjoy. So I saw that all this was attack thought, and I just chose to do what you were saying. I said, no, I got to relieve this concern.
Right.
And it was incredible, folks. The article got done last night. It's not due till tomorrow. The article got done last night.
Wow.
An illustration I found this morning right before I started embarking on the things that needed to be done for the plumber.
Right.
And then the things that I thought were going to be strenuous, like cleaning up all these areas, because I kept dumping the attack thoughts.
Right.
These things got done like you were explaining. I mean, cleaned up, put away, organized with it felt like no effort on my part.
Will you just remind people, we got about a minute and a half before we go to break, what do you mean by attack thoughts? Because I think this is really helpful as just a simple way to recognize the kind of thoughts you're talking about.
Well, in this case, it was, I'll never get this done. What's the use? Why did I say I would do this extra article? Like these little ideas that are counterproductive, or, why couldn't Lori, that's my wife, maybe I should have got her. I don't ask for help. It's my own, let go of all of that.
Right.
And know that I can't even complain or attack myself or others.
Right.
In these moments, and throw all that concern on God. And what started to happen was I got the inspired, inch by inch thoughts. Oh, you could just spray this stuff in that area while you're doing this. And it started to become really enjoyable.
Yes.
That, like you were saying, when we let go of the attack thoughts, that enjoyable feeling of the God within starts putting things in this divine order, setting up these divine appointments, making our way easy and effortless.
Right. Yes, that's so true. I didn't even tell you that. The moment I decided to write a letter and send it to the parents directly, because only half of my parents had emails on their, on the computer.
Available.
I was in the restroom. I ran into the tech guy. And if I had overlooked this silly little idea to send a letter home, I wouldn't have noticed it. But he set me up with a wireless printer. He connected it all because I said, oh my gosh, I'm going to follow through with that little step. I made friends with him. He set me up with a wireless printer. It was amazing. All right, coming up next, liberating life coach Kia Myers-Dugan releases us from doubt, insecurity, and hesitation with today's daily word, free. Thank you for listening to Funniest Thing on Unity Online Radio.
Thanks for listening. This is Unity Online Radio, the voice of an awakening world.
Have you always wanted to visit Unity Village? Or maybe you long to return? Join the Come Home to Unity Retreat, October 14th to 17th. Meet other Unity people from all over the country. Explore the 100-year-old village and learn more about its founders. Deepen your prayer practice and find a space for solitude on these prayer-saturated grounds. Now's the time for travel and togetherness. Learn more at unityvillage.org/come home.